Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could, just type yes in the questions. Just been having some issues lately. For those of you who attended yesterday, had some internet issues basically all day long. We just about got through the end of yesterday's webinar, and then I got cut off and was not able to do the advanced webinar that follows this one. So if you guys were attending that advanced webinar, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll address it in about half hour when we start that webinar. So apologies there. Let's get going here. Okay, so welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Now, what we're going to do, and the goal of this webinar here is to introduce you to Bookmap and the advantages that it gives you. Okay, we're going to look at Bookmap and the user interface and go through some of the basics in the order flow. Okay, so you guys understand what it is Bookmap is showing you and the advantages that it's giving you, and understand the order flow. Okay, we're also going to go through the bookmap.com website. We're going to show you or define what Bookmap is, how you connect it, how you subscribe to it, and then we'll get into the interface of Bookmap. All right, and then please ask questions about anything that you have. Okay, now the education that we're going over here is just the basic education. Right, Bookmap comes with a more advanced education when you subscribe. Okay, there's a 4-part course that you can access. Okay, and in that course, we go through basic mechanical principles in order flow on up to much more advanced concepts. Okay, now every day we back up all of that content and cover it in the advanced order flow webinars in the live market. Okay, so you can learn about order flow and then you can see it in the live market. Right, and due to our analysis in that live environment, we start to anticipate the future price movement. Okay, very objectively going through and starting to understand what it is you're looking at and how to read it. Okay, and with an objective analysis, you can start to see where a price is going to go. All right, so enough said there. Let's jump into bookmap.com. Good morning, Andre. And scroll down a bit here from the home page. Okay, there's an intro video here for those of you who are interested. Information about Bookmap here. You can always click here to subscribe for the free webinar, which is this webinar. Go down a bit further. There's Bookmap for US equities. I'll go over that in just a second. Okay, and connectivity. So we'll stop here and define what Bookmap is. We are a software trading platform. Okay, we're not a broker, nor are we a data provider. So for futures and for US equities, you will need to connect via your own data provider. All right, so for digital currencies, though, we actually do offer that. We're not the data provider there. We just have a partnership where we subsidize that GDAX exchange for the digital currencies. Okay, so but for the futures and for the US equities, you will need to provide it. Okay, and this is how you connect: CQG, Rhythmic, Gain, IQ Feed, Transact, and Dev Experts. Okay, now Dev Experts is up here. Okay, let's cover that one. This is for the US equities. Okay, for those that are trading the equities. Now, ask me questions. Who usually in the webinar here we go through just the NASDAQ or S&P or crude. But if you have specific questions regarding currencies, currency futures, or equities, I can go through those as well. Okay, you want to read more about it here. You get NASDAQ Total View and EDGX, or both if you want, and more information there for the equities. Okay, so you can see there's some other trading platforms listed here. We connect via the API of Ninja, TTX Trader Pro and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. However, we are a platform as well, so it's just better to connect directly to the data provider, okay, like CQG and Rhythmic. Okay, all right, that's defined now, Bookmap, gone over connectivity. Now let's just show a few more resources here. Oh, I'm sorry, got to go over how you can get Bookmap. Go just scroll down a little bit further to the different packages. There's yearly that you can subscribe to for a 20% discount, or monthly here. Okay, and you'll see digital versions and global versions. So let's define what they are. Digital version here is free. It's one digital currency that you get access to. That market is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can always see how Bookmap is performing in the market. This is why we offer the free version. It's limited, there's limited support, there's limited education, etc. Now the Digital Plus version though, you get to record and replay all of your data. Okay, you get up to 20 different digital currencies in a live market. The data is free from GDAX, and you can trade also from your right from Bookmap into your GDAX account. Okay, you also get full support and that advanced education that I've been mentioning. Okay, so that's for digital currencies. Now the global versions here, this covers all the markets. Okay, when you subscribe to global, it allows you to connect to the futures market as well as US equities. All right, so this is the version you'll need is the global. Right, now the global plus version, it comes along with add-on indicators that we put together. These are proprietary indicators we developed that look at specifically order flow phenomena. Okay, one is the ability to trade right from the Bookmap chart because we have the heat map in front of us. You can set your orders and front run high liquidity or hide your stops behind high liquidity. All sorts of ways and to benefit from that one-click trading. The large lot tracker, we start to identify larger players in the order book. Gives you an advantage there. We have some imbalance indicators and iceberg detector. Again, looking at larger players, specific players that are using hidden orders and icebergs, they don't want to show their hand. They don't want to show their liquidity. And we also have a correlation tracker to add different markets. Okay, Andre, we'll take a look at the euro dollar. I have the euro dollar up if you're interested in that. But we will also take a look at the stock indexes as well. Okay, so we'll look at the NASDAQ E-mini. That's usually moving quite a bit better than the S&P. So we've had good luck with that, and so we'll continue on with NASDAQ as well. All right, so now you know how to get Bookmap if you want it. Let's go over a few social media areas here. You can subscribe to our Twitter feed at bookmap_pro. All sorts of new information here. If you're new, you might want to watch or click on this link here for the just going through step-by-step guide. Our YouTube page, all sorts of videos here. Just go through the playlist on the home page here. Okay, some intro videos for those of you who are new. Features and components to understand the user interface. And then order flow video snippets. Now, these are concise videos that go through the phenomena that Bookmap uncovers in the order flow. This is what we go through in detail in the advanced order flow webinars. All right, so enough said, let's jump into Bookmap and see what's going on here. Looking at the NASDAQ E-mini here, and for those of you who are new, and see quite a few new faces in here, so welcome. We're looking at a kind of more advanced version here with some different indicators. So I'm going to strip some of those away here. So we're just going to look at the basics. Okay, it's you're looking at 3 elements on this chart, and that's really it. That's all there is here in this Bookmap chart. Now it may look really detailed and complex here, and it's really not. It's just really straightforward and very objective data that we're looking at. Most objective view of the market I've ever seen. The 3 elements here: historical best bid and offer, and I'll talk about why that's an advantage compared to candlesticks or any other bar rotation. Then the volume that precisely traded on that historical best bid and offer, that's with these dots that you see here, okay? And then you see this colored heat map, right? Well, what's the heat map? All it is data from the dome, okay, your depth of market, okay? Those that are bidding and offering, like right now they're bidding, you can see right here at 71.70 and 71.73.5 up here. And then they're down here on the bid at 71.60. This is the live market right here. Don't worry, I'll go over the details here, but I just want to show you that this is the heat map. Okay, it's derived from the dome, and then it's recorded and plotted onto the chart historically. So all of this area here, well, these are traders that are bidding. They're bidding all throughout this area here, and these are larger players too. Look at the wall of liquidity down here, right? And look how they pulled that liquidity. And that's why we're down below it now. All right, we traded into some of these areas here, and we can go back and very objectively look at this liquidity here and decipher, did they stay in the book and trade or not? Okay, and this is really going to help because now you're able to use the dome on much higher time frames. Okay, not just that current market and those numeric values in the dome. Right, so it's all here in Bookmap, recorded onto the chart and plotted historically. Okay, look at them. Up here, you can see where they're offering. These are the larger players or larger areas of liquidity where they wanted to sell. Okay, up here 71.85, and they got even more aggressive here. As you can see, price came up at just barely made a new high, totally rejected, and then fell down below where they were supporting it earlier. Okay, so anyway, all sorts of stuff that already starting to get into some more advanced analysis due to being below this area here. All right, so lots of things to look at and consider. Anyway, let's Andre, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to define these three elements, and then we'll look at some of the order flow in the 6E, okay? All right, so, and I'll try to quickly go through this here. We'll look at a candlestick chart so we have some reference here, okay, and strip off all those three elements that we were looking at. Now, this looks like a really simplified view of the market, okay? And it is, but there's some really big drawbacks here. A lack of transparency, complete lack of transparency. This is a 5-minute candlestick chart, and each period here is an aggregated period of 5 minutes of data. Okay, open, high, low, and close, 4 data points. That's all you're getting here, right? Well, what happened within some of these areas? Okay, and where were the microstructural areas? Where did the volume trade in those little microstructural areas? We can't see it because it's not. It's all aggregated within one period. Okay, and then as we were just covering earlier, where are they bidding and offering? Okay, none of that's here. Okay, outside of what transacted, we don't see anything. We're completely blind to it, and that's one of the big advantages you get with Bookmap. Okay, is that heat map. You know, when you start to look at that heat map here, now you're starting to understand a completely different picture here, where they're bidding and offering. Okay. Anyway, 3 elements. Let's go through and define some of these and the advantages that you're getting with these very simple 3 basic objective elements. Okay. First one is just turn on the historical best bid and offer. It's such a simple thing, but it is really profound in its effect here. Microstructures, they easily pop out, and you can see them now. Okay. These aren't so micro either. You know, they are higher time frame. Look at this trending market to the upside. Okay, little consolidation period, it broke it. Consolidation period again, it broke it. And then we had a pretty strong move to the upside at 10 o'clock. And there are little microstructural consolidation periods in here as well, and you can see them. Okay? Let's zoom into them. Okay? And start to define them. Okay, I did a pretty sloppy job there of identifying them, but let's try that again. All right. Okay, so I outlined the bigger structure, okay, which is here. Okay, we broke that structure. we broke it here. Okay, and it kind of was, you know, bouncing off of it a little bit, but it accepted higher. Okay, it broke even this structure here. Okay, so here's your other microstructure. Okay, here, right? Now it broke that one too, and it accepted now above this other consolidation period here. Okay, and look at the pullbacks is what I want to go over too, because this is one of the strategies that we go through. Such a basic strategy to understand is a volume, low volume pullback, usually low volume pullback to where it broke from. Okay, so these are your little pullbacks right here. Okay, in the microstructure, 1, 2. Let me get out of the drawing mode. 1 and 2. Here's some other pullbacks here. Okay, and here's another pullback here, and you see the move higher. Okay, so now we're starting to understand the price activity within this candle here. Here it is. Okay, here are the microstructures, and there's 2 trading opportunities right here in front of us. Okay, there are several trading opportunities here. Anyway. Just showing best bid and offer already gives you an advantage. Now let's show the volume though on that best bid and offer. Okay, and let's we can get rid of our drawings. Okay, and this should be of no surprise. This is typical order flow. Okay, now we're just looking at volume here on that historical best bid and offer, but look at the breakouts. Okay, look at where we just covered here, the breakout here, the breakout here, and the breakout here. Okay, notice the green dots. Okay, big green volume dots. Okay, bigger than other areas. Okay, why? Well, that's what it takes to move the market up out of these consolidation periods. Okay? More volume, more buy volume, and we got it. And that's why we have these little pullbacks here, and there's very little volume that trade down here on the pullbacks. Rotates again higher, and you get price discovery to the upside again and again. Okay, and then real nice follow through here. Anyway, the very typical to see the volume trade like this in a trend. And let's zoom into this area and cover, you know, precisely what we're showing here. Okay, because it's really, really simple data. And here it is. Here, the red line here, this is our best ask. Okay, that's it. Here's our best bid here, the green line. Okay, you can see the spread here actually widened out quite a bit, you know, by 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 ticks here. Okay, and then it you know, closed down again and kind of back and forth here. But during this period here, we'll look at the volume here. This is why the spread widened out. It's because they lifted the offer with their aggressive buying. Okay? The green dot, we can get the precise data here. We can hover over it. 29 is the volume here. This is that last line of text. And we can also see it in the lower left-hand corner here. But let's zoom in more. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of latency here in the data feed between 2 different protocol of trade data versus quotes data. This is pretty typical on fast moves. So maybe I won't go over that example. Maybe I'll come into this one here. And I just want to show you that when we zoom in here, you're going to note that there are several trades within trades. Look at these little clusters and flurries of activity really quickly that occur. Okay, as they, you know, lift the offer into some of these areas here. Okay, now it's not a lot of volume here. Volume of 10 is our, you know, chart range volume profile here. But this is about as simple a view as you can get of the market. Best offer, best bid, your aggressor here, the market buyers. Okay, they hit the market buy button and they took liquidity off of the best offer. If they take enough liquidity off of this best offer, they're going to lift it to the next price level. And that's what they did here. Okay. All right. So very basic stuff here, but very profound in its overall understanding of the market, giving us insight here. Okay. We can now see that any, you know, like algorithmic data or trading, we can start to identify a lot of that as well. Anyway, that's the market buys. Now the market sells here are the red dots here that you can see. Okay, that's it. Okay, best bid and offer and volume. Now the third element is the heat map. So let's go to the current market. Okay, and let's turn on the heat map. And here we go. Okay, so and let's take off our candlestick chart. Okay. Okay, so now the heat map. Now we know what these two elements are. That third element, really adds a lot of depth here. Okay, no pun intended. It's all derived, as I mentioned earlier, from your dome, your depth of market. Okay, so everything to the right of this vertical white line here, this is the live market. Here's our current best bid and offer. Okay, and here's our price ladder. And the heat map here, as you can see, is changing in color. Well, those changes in color are reflected by the depth of market, the numeric values here in our COB column, which stands for current order book. Okay, so this is our price ladder here. There's our last traded volume is this number. Okay, and we can start to now understand the depth of market here with the numeric values, because we're usually accustomed to this view here. Okay? It's just these are traders lined up to bid or offer at these areas. Look at this guy here. A large lot tracker is actually showing us that about 60 or 70% of that is one individual actor that's providing the majority of liquidity, probably about 40 contracts here. Okay. And notice how the color, all of a sudden it popped in and got this kind of red color, or orangish red. The scale for the heat map is up here. Okay? Red, orange, yellow, then white, then blue, and then black is the lowest amount of liquidity. Okay? Now you can change the heat map up to reflect all sorts of different values here. It's really up to you how you want to filter that heat map. I just want to show that's there, so you can start to focus on more important liquidity instead of all the details. Okay. Anyway, there's the heat map, and you can see what we do is we record it. Okay. So when we saw that larger player pop in, this is when it happened right here. Is all of a sudden like it got bright orange here, or this kind of a reddish orange color. Okay, it's that one player who popped in the book here with 65 contracts now. Okay, and that's what it looks like. So now you can start to understand all these other areas here. All it is adding and pulling of liquidity. But what that allows you to do is when we start to zoom out, now you can start to see how they're offering and how they're bidding in this auction. Okay, and not only can we see it in the current market here, which is usually how we access the dome. Now we can see it in the much larger picture. Okay? It's recorded. We can use our dome now on much higher time frames. Okay? We can start to understand this double top up here. Okay? And we can start to understand all sorts of details here. How I mentioned earlier, well, this higher liquidity in these areas here, let's zoom in here. Okay? Did they trade? Okay? Did they stay in the book and trade? Answer is yes. Okay, this was real liquidity. It was not fake. These larger players here, look how they the aggressor here, the sellers, hit right into it. Okay, we had about 142 contracts here. Look what traded, 145 of those. Okay? There's a little bit of buying in there as well, but did this trade? Absolutely, it did. These larger players here, they're long. Okay, they absorbed that, or they didn't really. They got the trader, the aggressor, traded through them. Okay, here they are again, right? High liquidity again, and we have 122 contracts here. Well, 70 of those traded. Okay, well, 117 now. Okay, so you can start to get very precise with understanding this liquidity. Is it real? Is it fake? Are they staying in the book? These guys are absorbing. Or they're filled. I should not say absorbing. Absorbing is when this completely absorbs the aggressor. Okay, and it basically exhausts out from the aggressor, and you'll get a reversal. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So the larger players are filled in here. I'm imagining that we'll see returns to these areas here. Okay. And we're probably going to see a battle with the sellers on the other side here. And you can see they're starting to line up in those areas. Okay. all this information here is just, you just simply wouldn't see it in other charting platforms. Okay, so we're starting to put together, the players and starting to understand where they're filled, and then with the aggressors starting to understand who's in control. Okay, as we did over here. Okay, we know that the buyers were in control as we saw them in our little area that we're marking out microstructure. They lifted the offer here very quickly with aggressive buying, more aggressive buying, more aggressive buying. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's see here. Leo, how do I know if they sell or buy on that price? Okay, I think I just covered that with, very, very objectively detailing that. I mean, yeah, we know that these guys are filled. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Trades right into that high liquidity. All right. Anyway, we only have a few more minutes left here, and I promise I get to the 6E. So let's take a look at that. Now, different markets trade differently, and that's obvious here. But you'll look at the 6E here, and you'll start to note that well, this is a lot different looking chart here, but we can start to look at the areas of liquidity here where they're bidding and offering, and there's a lot of hedging in this market, okay? And you'll see that kind of distinction. When you look at the currencies, you'll see how they're starting to pull in some of these areas, and they get back in up in some of these areas here. So there's a lot of kind of back and forth. But this is what it looks like, and we're just finding a lot of aggressive buyers here, lifting the offer up out of this little zone right here. Okay, and let's see if they can continue to lift that offer maybe up into this 116.86 area here. Okay. Higher liquidity up there. All right. Okay. Anyway. Yep, this is the 6E here, and just, we can see that they stayed in the book down here at 116.62. Okay, and a little back and forth here. They never got down to it here though, and now we can see the follow through here to the upside, and they're showing pretty high liquidity now on the bid at a higher area. And this is bullish. Okay, it's a bullish breakout, and they're being bullish in the book here. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking for maybe an extension up into this 116.84 area based on what I see in the order flow. And I like this area up here because I look at this kind of plateau of price and looking for a lot of players that are placing their stops up here that are short. We could see a nice short squeeze if we can get up here and ignite some of those stop orders. Okay, they'll be buyers, okay, and we can see a nice little squeeze to the upside. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe the buyers are going to, or the sellers here are going to get really aggressive, right? And you'll just be able to read it. Maybe they're going to come in with very high liquidity. Maybe they're going to, start hitting the bid really hard. It doesn't look like it right now. It looks like they're still supporting it at higher areas here on the bid. Okay, so anyway, we'll see, but looks good so far, and that's what I would be looking for. Okay, at this time. All right. If no other questions, then let's yeah, and you can see here's our follow through on the upside here. We actually saw exactly the same thing the other day of these larger players, like getting involved in some of these areas here. We know that they're filled. I mean, we know that, right? So are they going to take a loss? Most likely not. So looking for the even possible next high up here at 71.84, and maybe we can get up to 7,200 here. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit and look at 7,200. Yeah, up here. You can see they were here earlier, but they're not here any longer. Anyway, those are some of the basics. For those of you who are signed up for the advanced order flow webinar, we'll jump over there and we'll continue on. Okay? All right, thanks guys. Bye-bye.